classes being conducted by Bal Sadhana group of education. Today we will study a new topic. We move to another easy topic. Till date, whatever we have read, we have solved its exercises and questions side by side. Listen carefully to what we are going to read today and will let you to do some exercises related to it or related to the topic negation. In our next class, in our next session, we will solve the given exercises and questions related to negation. So, you read about this topic negation carefully. So, let us start our topic negation. Negation means negative. If we don't want to give our response in a positive or an affirmative form, we express our views just opposite of the sentence. Means we will convert the affirmative sentences into negative. Negation denies the truth of a sentence. Negation denies the truth of the sentence. It is the conversion of the affirmative sentences which convert the simple affirmative sentences into negative. Means we will convert the affirmative sentences into negative form. Example, I want to go. Affirmative. And for negation or negative sentence, I do not want to go. So, in order to claim that something is not true, we form a negative sentence by adding not after the first auxiliary, and here in the positive sentence, and if there is no auxiliary verb in the positive affirmative sentence as in the present simple and past simple, then we add the another auxiliary or the auxiliary do along with its form. So, what is a negation? Negation means to deny or to state our views in the negative form. So, negation denies the truth of a sentence, means a negative form. It is the conversion, change of the affirmative sentence which convert the simple affirmative sentence into negative. Here example is given here. I want to go, I do not want to go. In order to claim that something is not true, we form a negative sentence by adding the word not. By adding the word not after the first auxiliary verb in the sentence. Listen carefully. Negation denies the truth of a sentence. It is the conversion of the affirmative sentences which convert the simple affirmative sentences into negative form. In order to claim that something is not true, we form a negative sentence by adding the word not after the first auxiliary verb in the positive sentence. A negative sentence states that something is not true or incorrect. It is the process that turns an affirmative sentence into its opposite, denial. Whenever we want to deny or whenever we are not going to agree with the statement, we prove or we lay stress on our sentence that may be in the negative form. So, changing the affirmative sentence, changing the yes, the positive form to negative is known as negation. So what is negation? Negation means to claim that something is not true, and we form a negative sentence by adding not after first auxiliary in the positive sentence. Or we can say that whenever we are not agreeing to the statement, or we want to express our view away from the affirmative form or away from the question form, or we want to say that the sentence related to someone is not true or we are not agreed, then we add negative form over there. Rules of negation. By changing the auxiliary verb of the sentence into negative, we can apply negation in the sentence, and this will depend upon tense. So, first and foremost rule is negation in tense. Here, in negation, you must know the rules and the formation of different tenses along with their kinds. So, first we will take simple present. Means we are talking about the negation in present tense. So, let us see. First, the rule is for affirmative in present indefinite, the helping verb is do or does. In continuous is am or are. In present perfect, it is had or have. In present perfect continuous, has been or have been. To change all these affirmative into negative, we will add do not, means we will add not here. Means the verbs, auxiliary verbs plus not. So, present indefinite in negative form will become do not or does not according to the person. Similarly, present continuous with helping verb is not, am not, are not according to the person. Has or have, same negative form according to the person. Has not, have not. Here, present perfect continuous means time is there, so has not been, have not been according to the person. So, first rule of negation in tense is related to simple present tense. You must know the rules and formation of the tenses side by side. That we discussed in our very first class of our online classes. Next is past. Next is past tense. Past tense means here we are talking about our past situation. Past indefinite, affirmative with did, past continuous with was or were, past perfect with had, and past perfect continuous with had been. And to convert affirmative to negative in all these tenses, negative will be did plus not. Here we will add not with the verbs, with the auxiliary verbs. Did not, past continuous was not or were not, past perfect had not, and past perfect continuous had not been. Similarly, move to future tense. In future, first future indefinite, then second future continuous, then future perfect, then future perfect continuous. First affirmative sentence, future indefinite, shall or will, continuous shall be, will be, future perfect shall have, will have, future perfect continuous shall have been, will have been. And while converting affirmative to negative, we will add not here. So, the negative form of affirmative sentence in future indefinite is shall not, will not. And say in future in continuous, shall not be, will not be. Future perfect, shall not have, will not have. Future perfect continuous, shall not have been or will not have been. So, thoroughly read our first step or first rule of negation, that is related to different types of tenses. And the example, I write a letter, I do not write a letter. I will write a letter, I will not write a letter. So, thoroughly go through the first rule along with its rules and some examples. And our first question or your home task, your first home task will be related to, you will have to write a negative sentences, at least 5. Means you will have to write 5 negative sentences in simple past. So thoroughly read the rules of this first rule, that is negation in tenses. Our next is negation in modal auxiliaries. Modals. Whenever we talk about the modals, we just switch in our mind that the ability, the process, the conformity or the possibility is there in the statement. So while converting the negation form, we will add not, means modal plus not. You have earlier read in our previous examples or in our previous classes on the first topic of our online classes, that was tenses. So here negation in modal auxiliaries. While converting the modals into negative form, we will add not, means modal plus not. The modals are can, could, shall, should, will, would, may, might, must, ought to, need. While converting these modals in negative form, we will add not with the modals. Here, cannot, could not, shall not, should not, will not, would not, may not, might not, must not, ought not to, and need not. So, all these modals will need not while converting them into negative form. Let us see the example here. They can solve the sums. We will add not in negative. They cannot solve the sums. This is affirmative and this is negative. So, you must work hard. You must not work hard. So, here in these sentences, you can clearly see that we are adding not to the given modals in the sentence. So, negation in modal auxiliary will be modal plus not. This is quite simple. Next is negation in words. Yes. Some words such as ever, anybody, anyone, anything, anywhere, instead of, never, nobody, no one, nothing, nowhere, etc. represent the negation. So, this is also a kind also. Negation of words is also the second kind of or second type of negation. First is that simple not, that we add not to the words. We will discuss it later. Now here negation in words. So here are given, some words are given here. Thoroughly read the word that will present the negation form. So, ever, anybody, anyone, anything, anywhere. All these are instead of never, nobody, no one, nothing, nowhere, etc. All these present negation. Let us see some examples over here. He cannot go nowhere without informing me. He cannot go nowhere without informing me. I do not think he can ever reach within time. So here you can clearly see that the words, that negation in the words related to ever, anybody, anyone, anything, anywhere. Instead of all these, we will use never, nobody, no one, nothing, nowhere, etc. to represent the negation. So he cannot go nowhere without informing me. I do not think he can ever reach within time. Our next rule is negation by using prefix. Yes. Next is using negation by prefix. Prefix means we add the words, some words to make a new word, whether it may be in affirmative form or it may be in negative form. Today we are talking about the negation. So let us see the prefix that we use to make the statement in negative form. So its next rule is negation by using prefix. One way to make negative sentences is by adding negative prefixes. Means we will add some negative prefixes to nouns, adjectives and verbs that will show the negative form. But there are also few prefixes or some prefixes that whenever we add them in the word, they show the positive or affirmative meaning. But here we are talking about the negation. So we will take some negative prefixes, and these are a, dis, il, im, in, ir, not, un. All these prefixes will show us the negative response. So let us see political, apolitical, agree, disagree, legal, illegal, possible, impossible, accurate, inaccurate, regular, irregular, sense, nonsense, able, unable. So all these are the opposites. You can say opposite means when we are talking about the opposite words, or when we are talking about the statement with opposite sense, then it will be in negation form. So here some prefixes are given that will show you about the negative form of the word. So here sense, nonsense, able, unable, agree, disagree, possible, impossible. So all these words will show you the negative form. Next is double negation. Next rule is double negation. Some sentences are there which show you the negation to the verb and negation to the modifiers, means to the nouns, adjectives, adverbs, or to the object of the verb. So here, listen carefully. Our next fifth rule is double negation, means some sentences are there with double negation. For that, we will see the negation to the verb and negation to the modifier of the noun, adjectives, adverbs, or to the object of the verb. Let us see here with an example. I will not bake no cake. Will not, verb negation, no cake, object negation. So be careful and step ahead by knowing the rule of double negation, that if the statement is containing two type of negation, that is negation to the verb and negation to the modifier of nouns, adjectives, adverbs, or to the object of the verb, then we will sort out the negation, means verb negation and object negation over. See, let us see the example. I will not bake no cake. Here we are talking about the cake. Means you are not going to bake the cake. Means first your action is not positive, and secondly the work you are doing is not in the positive form. So here I will not bake no cake. Will not, verb negation, means you are not going to do anything, but what you are not going to do anything, that is baking the cake. So here object negation, means you are denying to do this work. So here in this sentence we can easily find double negations. So negation to the verb and negation to the modifier of the noun, adjective, adverb, or the object of the verb. So here will not, verb negation, no cake, object negation. Some negative words are there that shows us the statement or the rule of the negation. Means sometimes the negative forms of nouns such as nowhere, nothing, and no one are used in sentences. Then the verb in the sentence is not negated. Means we will not add no. These words in themselves are in the form of negation. Listen carefully. Some words, nobody, no one, no, nothing, nowhere, all these words are that are used in the sentence are in negative meaning. So in the sentence we will not use another negative form. Means sometimes the negative form of nouns such as nowhere, nothing, no one, etc. are used in the sentences. Then the verb we are using in the sentence is not negated. Example, he is going nowhere. He has nothing to tell. No one is there to help him. So all these sentences that are related to the negative form, or you can say negative words in the sentence, then the verb in the sentence is not negative. Next is our negative adverbs. Yes, hardly, scarcely, barely, no sooner, like this, all these words are related to negative adverbs. Here, hardly, scarcely, barely, the main these words are related to the negative adverbs, means they are showing the negation of the sentence over here. Let us see the example. Hardly had I arrived home when my phone rang. Hardly had I arrived home when my phone rang. So, here you have read the definition and rules of negation along with the negative words and negative adverbs. I hope you will have understood the rules that are negation in the tense, means related to tense, then negation in modal auxiliary, then negation in words, then negation related to some prefix, and then double negation. Thoroughly read all these rules and our question or exercises will be related to all these one. And here are some tip words, negative adverbs, and negative verbs you have already read according to the tenses here. So, thoroughly read the rules of given over here. Our next is types of negation. Yes, types of negation. Negations are of two types, means you can easily divide the negation into two different types. First is negation with not, that we have read about earlier in our rules. So it depends on tenses. Example, I don't have a brother. So negation with not depends on related to the negation in tenses and negation related to modal auxiliaries. Here in these two we will use negation with not. And our next is negation with negative word, that we have already read about the negative words. So some negative words that we have already discussed. Example, never, either, nobody, no one, nowhere. All these are the negative words, and while using them we will not add not. So example, nobody could help me yesterday. So the two types of negation are negation with not, negation with negative words. The words are given here and the sentences are also given here. Negation with words, I do not have a brother. Negation with negative words, nobody could help me. I hope you will have understood whatever we discussed in our this topic, negation. So let me give you some home task, let me give you some work or the exercises or question to do yourself, and we will discuss their answer in our coming next class. So here, first task, first work is to write down negative sentences in simple past. Means first topic we read in this negation is that negation in tenses. So your duty is to write 5 sentences, at least 5 sentences that are negative form, that are in negative form of simple past. Means you will have to write 5 sentences in negative form of simple past tense. Second, I am giving you here some affirmative sentences and you will have to convert them into negative form. So change the following sentences into negative sentences. So here sentences are given here. You will have to convert them into negative form. He was interested in the offer. Neera writes plays for television. Anmol admitted that he was wrong. I have finished working on the project. They can lift the box. So some affirmative sentences are given here and your task is to convert them into negation, means negative form. Affirmative to negative form means your second question is changing of affirmative sentences to negative. Second is change of affirmative sentences to negative form, and your first was to write at least 5 sentences related to simple past tense that are in negative form. Next is related to negation in prefix. We read some prefixes that are used as negative form. So here some prefixes are given. You will have to write at least 2 words each for these given prefixes that are in negative form. Here un, non, im, dis. 4 prefixes that are negative prefixes are given here, and your task is to write at least 2 words each. Means here you will write un and you will have to write 2 words that are in negative form by adding un with prefix. Next, our first starting point, that was definition. Means you will have to define what is negation. Means define negation with examples. Whatever you have read in this topic, you will have to write over here in simple 1 or 2 sentences that what is negation, what do you mean by negation, along with 1 example. Next is write at least 2 sentences each for, means rules of negation. You have read 5 rules over here, and remembering the rules in your mind, step by step, you will have to write at least 2 sentences of each. Means first rule of negation, mention the name of the first rule of negation and then write 2 sentences in front of it. Then second rule, third, fourth, like this. You will have to write at least 2 sentences each for given rules of the negation. And we will discuss the answers of this one in our next coming class. I hope you will have understood whatever we discussed in this topic. This is a quite easy topic, and thoroughly read the rules, types and the words and the examples we use in this one and practice yourself. Thanks and have a nice day. Thank you.